All right, hey everybody, we're going to be talking about grids and guides. Now I am using Photoshop CC, but if you're using an older version, you should be fine. They're pretty much the same in all of them. Now Photoshop has grids and guides which make things very easy for measuring certain distances or finding the center of a document or getting a very mathematical and divided look at certain elements within Photoshop. And I want to start by looking at guides. So I want everyone to go up to View, and I want you to scroll down to Show, and we're just going to slide over and select Grid right here. And when we select that, we're going to see a bunch of different lines running across our photo, and you will be probably looking at a lot smaller boxes here, and it can be a bit shocking. Don't worry, we're going to play around with this. I want everyone to go up to Photoshop. This is for Mac. If you are using Windows, go to Edit, and we're going to go to Preferences. So Photoshop Preferences or Edit Preferences if you are on a Windows. And we're going to go down to Guides, Grids, and Slices. And you'll notice that mine are quite big. I have 4x4 spaces here. I want to change that. So most likely this is what yours will look like. I'm going to do one here and pixels. So chances are you're looking at something like this, and I'm just going to move this so we can see. A bunch of different lines are running across. Well, this is going it's separating them by 1 pixel and subdividing them by 2. Well, I want everyone to change this, and we can actually change it to inches. If we changed it to 1 inch, obviously it's going to get bigger. Each one of these squares represents an inch by an inch. But I want to use percentages, and I often like using percentages so I could measure the exact middle of something. And if we were to change this percentage to, let's say, 50%, let's try 100% first. Well, then you'll notice if we have it subdivided by 2, we're going to get these massive fourths on this image. So from there, we could actually discern where the center of this image is. And we can also play around with the color. Obviously, it's kind of hard to see that gray color, and yours may not be gray. And you can just select the color here within the grid section, click it, and drag something that's a little bit easier. I just selected a random red, and I'm going to drag this down so I can see it. And, makes it a bit easier to see. So that's the general idea of grids. Now I want to talk about guides really quickly, and I'm going to go back up to View, Show, and I'm just going to hide this grid by reselecting it. Now, guides are my favorite thing to use, and using the ruler tool to drag out guides is insanely awesome in Photoshop. And you'll notice that we don't see our ruler up here. Well, we need to go to View, Rulers, and select Rulers. And you will notice that we now have what appears to be a ruler right here. And from here, I like to have my Move tool selected. We can simply go up anywhere up here, click, and drag down. And this is just going to drag down this ruler. So say I wanted to get just the little kid here with the yellow hat. I could drag this down here, a horizontal guide, to the top of his hat. And I could also grab another one, excuse me, drag this down to the bottom of his foot, and then come over the left side here and grab some vertical guides, and we could drag these out, do something like that, and then drag this out to get his back foot. So you could do something like that, and from there grab your rectangle marquee tool, come in here and select this, and it's just automatically, so you'll notice this isn't snapping to these guides. I could measure that out, but if I wanted to be exact, I could come up here to View, Snap. I'm going to hit Control or Command D to deselect, and now I can really just drag this down. It's going to snap right to those guides, and from there, I could grab my cut tool and cut him out and just get this guy. I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to show you guys. Another cool thing is, well, first of all, let's clear these guides, and I like to clear them just by coming up here to View and select Clear Guides, and this is going to get rid of those. Now, sometimes we need to be exact. I want to know where 50% of this document is in the middle. I want to find the exact middle of this document. Well, what we could do is go to View, select New Guide, and from here we can put in a custom position. So we could do pixels, but if I were to do a vertical guide, and then instead of doing pixels, I'm going to type in 50 And this is going to move a guide to exactly 50% of this image. And you'll see that we have this guide running down the middle. So I could just do the same thing, go up to View, New, and select horizontal this time and do 50%, okay? And from there, I would have the exact center of this image. So now if I wanted to, start a rectangle from the very dead center of this, I could move to the center, hold Shift and Option, and while holding Shift and Option, just move this out. And holding Shift is going to make this proportional, and holding Option is going to make this go out from the center. And so this is not holding Shift. Shift would make this a perfect square. I actually don't want to hold Shift, so I'm just going to move this out. And we could do something like that. Maybe one to get this border or blur it out. Maybe one to do something with the middle. But using these custom guides is really awesome, especially when you're designing for user interface and you need to account for a padding on the left and right side or a margin. You could do, I would do 12 pixels, and oops, I'm gonna redo that. I'm gonna go to New Guide, and I'm gonna do, let's do something like 50 pixels. I'm going to do a vertical guide. So say I had this space here and I need the exact same space on this side. Well, it's quite simple. Since this is 50 pixels out, what I could do is just go to Image, Image Size, look at the width of this, and it's 2048, which means that this needs to be 1998, which would be subtracting 50 pixels. So if I went to New Guide and did 1998 pixels, and selected OK, we're going to have that exact same spacing on the right side. Obviously, we could use a percentage and just do something like 5%. I'm just going to go to View, New, and then let's do something like 25%, just so we can get away from that other guide. And we're going to get a guide right here. So now, obviously, if I wanted to get the same space on the other side here, I could do View, New Guide, and do 75%, and we have this space is equal to this space. Now if we go back to Photoshop and Preferences, and we'll go down to Guides, Grids, and Slices, we can also change the color of these guides. So currently it's selected at cayenne, but I could change it to yellow, play around with it. We could change this to dashed lines if we want it to be not a solid line, and you can't really tell unless you zoom in. But so that's kind of a quick summary on how to use guides and grids and how to use them, change certain stuff, and really where to find them to open them up. And you can just use View and go down to Rulers or to Show and then show this grid. So I just wanted this to be a quick explanation of this, and I hope you guys continue to use these in all your work.